The UN Vanguard sliced through the void of space, its sleek silhouette a testament to humanity's engineering prowess and thirst for the unknown. Aboard this intrepid vessel, Private Trevor Holt stood at attention, his heart racing with anticipation. Today marked the beginning of something monumental, a mission that could alter the course of human exploration. The Vanguard had been in orbit around an uncharted system for days, its crew tirelessly scanning the celestial bodies that danced around the local star. Their efforts had not been in vain. PX-753, a moon orbiting a gas giant in the Habroxy system, promised more than just rock and ice. It teemed with plant life, a rare jewel in the vast expanse of the cosmos. Trevor was among those selected to attend the mission briefing, a fact that filled him with both pride and a palpable sense of responsibility. He made his way to the briefing room, where Captain Helena Ford awaited. Ford was a legend in the UN, having navigated through skirmishes and explorations with a calm head and a strategic mind. Her presence commanded respect, and as Trevor entered, he felt the weight of the moment settle upon him. The room buzzed with low conversation as the crew assembled, their expressions a mix of excitement and trepidation. Trevor found a seat among his fellow soldiers, his gaze fixed on the front, where Captain Ford prepared to unveil the details of their mission. "Ladies and gentlemen," Captain Ford began, her voice cutting through the murmurs like a blade. "We stand on the brink of discovery. PX-753 represents an opportunity to expand our knowledge, to push the boundaries of what we believe is possible." The screen behind her flickered to life, displaying images of PX-753's lush green surface, obscured intermittently by dense cloud cover. Trevor leaned forward, absorbed by the alien world that might soon become his reality. "Our mission," Ford continued, "is to explore this moon, to gather data on its ecosystem, and to determine its viability for human colonization. Most importantly, we are to investigate any signs of sentient life." The room fell silent, the gravity of their task settling upon them. Ford outlined the challenges they faced: the unknown terrain, the potential for hostile environments, and the magnetic anomalies that had already complicated their orbital scans. "Each of you has been selected for your expertise and your courage," Ford said, her eyes scanning the room. "Trevor, you'll be on security detail. Your marksmanship could be crucial in keeping the team safe." Trevor felt a jolt of pride at the mention of his name, coupled with a surge of determination. He was ready to face whatever PX-753 had in store, to protect his crewmates and contribute to humanity's legacy of exploration. The briefing continued, with the crew discussing logistics, potential hazards, and emergency protocols. The mood was somber yet determined, each member aware of the dangers that lay ahead but driven by the unquenchable human desire to explore the unknown. As the meeting concluded, Trevor lingered, his eyes fixed on the images of PX-753. The dense jungles, the towering mountains obscured by clouds, this was where he would test his mettle, where he would face the unknown. Captain Ford approached him, her gaze appraising. "Ready for this, Private Holt?" Trevor met her eyes, feeling the weight of her experience and the confidence she placed in him. "Yes, ma'am. Ready as I'll ever be." Ford nodded, a hint of a smile tugging at her lips. "That's what I like to hear. Get some rest. Tomorrow, we make history." As Trevor left the briefing room, the corridors of the Vanguard seemed to hum with anticipation. Tomorrow, they would descend to PX-753, stepping into the unknown. Trevor felt a mix of fear and excitement churn within him. This was more than just a mission, it was a leap into the vast, uncharted stretches of the galaxy. The UN Vanguard and its crew were ready to face whatever challenges awaited them on PX-753. And Trevor Holt, with determination in his heart and a rifle at his side, was ready to play his part in humanity's grand adventure among the stars. The descent to PX-753 began with the shuttle breaking away from the UN Vanguard, its engines humming softly as it started its journey through the alien atmosphere. Trevor Holt sat strapped in his seat, his gear secured, and his mind racing with the possibilities of what awaited them on the surface. Around him, the crew checked and rechecked their equipment, the tension palpable in the cramped confines of the shuttle. Captain Helena Ford's voice cut through the anticipation. "Remember, keep your eyes open and stay sharp. We don't know what we're landing into. Magnetic anomalies could affect our instruments, so let's not rely solely on tech." As they descended, the shuttle began to shake violently, buffeted by winds that screamed against the hull. The dense cloud cover enveloped them, reducing visibility to nearly zero. Trevor gripped his seat, trying to steady his nerves as the shuttle lurched unpredictably. Then, without warning, the console began to blare alarms. "Magnetic interference detected," the onboard computer announced, its calm voice belying the chaos outside. "Manual controls," Ford shouted, taking the helm as the shuttle's autopilot struggled against the magnetic forces. The crew braced themselves, their training kicking in amidst the turmoil. Despite Ford's skilled piloting, the shuttle was caught off guard by a hidden mountain peak, cloaked by the dense clouds. With a horrific screech of metal on rock, the shuttle clipped the peak, sending it spiraling towards the ground. Impact was imminent. "Brace for impact," Ford's voice was the last thing Trevor heard before the world exploded into a cacophony of noise and pain. The shuttle hit the ground with a bone-jarring thud, throwing Trevor against his restraints and plunging the crew into darkness as the lights flickered and died. The silence that followed was deafening. Trevor gasped for breath, checking himself for injuries. Around him, groans and the sound of unbuckling straps filled the air. Report, Ford's voice, though strained, cut through the darkness. One by one, the crew checked in, miraculously alive but not without injuries. Trevor unstrapped himself, helping others as they began to assess the situation. The shuttle was a wreck, its hull breached in several places, and the cockpit a tangled mess of wires and shattered displays. Outside, the alien jungle of PX-753 loomed, a wall of vegetation barely visible through the breaches in the hull. The air was thick with the scent of unknown plants and the sounds of alien life. Trevor peered out, his heart racing at the thought of what dangers awaited them in the dense foliage. Ford gathered the crew, her face set in determination despite the grim situation. "We're alive, and that's what counts. We need to secure the perimeter, assess our supplies, and find a way to signal the vanguard. We're not the first crew to crash land, and we won't be the last to survive. Let's get to work." Trevor nodded, feeling a surge of adrenaline. They were stranded on an alien moon, with unknown dangers lurking just beyond the light of their emergency lanterns. Yet, the resolve in Ford's voice and the determination in the eyes of his crewmates steeled his resolve. As they set about their tasks, the jungle around them seemed to watch, a silent observer to the latest drama in its ancient existence. Trevor couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, the sense that the planet was not just an inert mass of rock and vegetation, but a living, breathing entity that had just claimed them as its newest inhabitants. The crash was just the beginning. Ahead lay the struggle for survival, the fight against a world that had already shown its teeth. Yet, amidst the fear and uncertainty, Trevor felt a spark of excitement. This was the unknown they had trained for, the challenge they had sought in the stars, and they would meet it head-on. The alien jungle of PX-753 was a world of shadows and whispers, a place where the line between plant and predator blurred. Trevor Holt and the surviving crew of the crashed shuttle had set up a perimeter around their makeshift camp, the wreckage offering meager shelter against the unknown threats lurking in the dense foliage. Captain Helena Ford had organized teams to scout the immediate area, collect samples, and attempt to establish a makeshift communication relay with the UEN Vanguard, still orbiting unseen above the dense cloud cover. Trevor was part of the security detail, his rifle always at the ready as they navigated the treacherous terrain. It wasn't long before the alien jungle revealed its dangers. A crew member, distracted by the collection of vibrant flora, failed to notice the creeping vines inching towards him until they ensnared his leg, pulling him towards a gaping maw hidden among the underbrush. The plant, resembling a monstrous Venus flytrap, clamped shut, its digestive acids dissolving the unfortunate soul amidst his screams. The incident was a grim reminder of their vulnerability, heightening the tension among the crew. Trevor's vigilance intensified, his eyes constantly scanning for movement, his finger twitching on the trigger of his rifle. Their situation worsened when they encountered the local insect life. Massive, chitinous creatures emerged from the underbrush, their mandibles clicking in hunger as they advanced on the humans. One such encounter turned violent when a swarm of winged insects, each the size of a small dog, descended upon them, attracted by the light of their portable lanterns. The battle that ensued was chaotic. Trevor and his team fired into the swarm, their rifles' reports thunderous in the quiet of the jungle. Despite their efforts, several crew members sustained injuries, the venom of the insects inducing fever and delirium. In the midst of these assaults, they discovered the presence of small, timid creatures that seemed to be prey to both the plants and the larger insects. These alien fauna, resembling a cross between a rodent and a bird, were skittish, their iridescent feathers shimmering as they darted away at the slightest movement. Although harmless, they offered no advantage to the stranded humans, serving only as a reminder of the complex ecosystem in which they were now unwelcome intruders. Captain Ford, ever pragmatic, ordered the collection of samples from both the flora and fauna, hoping to glean any advantage or insight into their environment. But the continuous threats from the jungle made it clear that their presence was not tolerated. As night fell on PX-753, the jungle came alive with alien sounds, a cacophony of calls and cries that echoed through the darkness. The crew huddled within the relative safety of their camp, the wreckage of their shuttle casting long shadows under the light of alien stars. The hostile environment of PX-753 had taken its toll on the crew, both physically and mentally. The loss of their comrades and the constant vigilance required to fend off the planet's inhabitants had drained their spirits. Yet, under Captain Ford's leadership, they remained determined, their resolve to survive and signal for rescue undiminished. Trevor, lying awake amidst the restless sounds of the night, reflected on the day's horrors and wonders. The lethal beauty of the jungle, the ferocity of its inhabitants, and the fleeting glimpses of its more peaceful creatures had left him in awe and fear. PX-753 was a world of contradictions, a place of unfathomable danger and untold secrets. As the night deepened, Trevor's thoughts turned to the Vanguard, orbiting somewhere above the impenetrable cloud cover. He wondered if they would ever break through the silence, if rescue would come. But as he drifted into a fitful sleep, one thing was clear: the struggle for survival on PX-753 was far from over. In the days that followed the crash, the dense jungle of PX-753 seemed to close in on the survivors, its vibrant but deadly flora a constant reminder of their precarious situation. The makeshift camp, cobbled together from the shuttle's wreckage, offered scant protection against the relentless onslaught of predatory life forms. Captain Helena Ford, with unwavering determination, orchestrated their survival efforts, her leadership a beacon in the encroaching darkness. Trevor Holt, now more attuned to the dangers of their alien surroundings, stood guard over the camp, his senses heightened to every rustle and shadow. The crew, though diminished in number, had fortified their position as best as they could, using parts of the shuttle to create barriers and traps for the larger predators. Each day brought new challenges, from sourcing edible plant life to defending against the nocturnal predators that seemed to grow bolder with each passing night. Amidst the struggle to survive, the crew worked tirelessly to establish a means of communication with the UEEN Vanguard. The dense cloud cover and magnetic anomalies made traditional signals impossible. In a stroke of ingenuity, Captain Ford proposed using the shuttle's remaining power core to amplify a distress beacon. It was a risky plan, requiring the team to venture deeper into the jungle to retrieve necessary components from a section of the wreckage that had scattered further away. The expedition into the heart of PX-753 was fraught with danger. Trevor led the security detail, their path marked by the luminous fungi that dotted the forest floor, casting an eerie glow on their faces. They encountered flora that seemed to watch them with unseen eyes, and the air was filled with the sounds of alien creatures. a constant reminder that they were not welcome. Their journey was not without loss. Another crew member was taken by a creature that sprung from a concealed burrow, its speed and ferocity leaving them with no chance of a rescue. The incident shook the team to their core, reinforcing the harsh reality of their situation. Upon returning to camp with the needed components, the crew set about constructing the amplifier for the distress beacon. It was a task that required every ounce of their remaining energy and focus, their hands guided by the hope of rescue. The days blurred into a cycle of maintenance, defense, and sheer willpower. Their food supplies dwindled, forcing them to rely on the alien flora, which was painstakingly tested for toxicity. Water was sourced from the dew collected on the leaves of certain plants, a method discovered by one of the scientists among them. Despite the adversities, there was a sense of camaraderie that bound the crew together, a shared resolve to survive and return to the stars from which they had come. Captain Ford's leadership was instrumental in maintaining this morale, her presence a constant source of motivation. As the amplifier neared completion, the camp was attacked by a swarm of the massive insects they had encountered before. This time, however, the crew was prepared. Using makeshift weapons and the natural defenses of their camp, they repelled the assault, but not without cost. Injuries were sustained, and their medical supplies were now critically low. With the amplifier finally operational, a flicker of hope ignited among the weary survivors. The beacon was activated, sending a powerful distress signal piercing through the cloud cover and into the vast expanse of space. As they awaited a response, the crew gathered around the campfire, their faces illuminated by the flames. They shared stories of their lives before the mission, of the dreams that had brought them to the stars. In these moments of vulnerability, the stark reality of their situation was laid bare. Yet, amidst the uncertainty, there was a palpable sense of unity, a collective strength that stemmed from their shared ordeal. Trevor, looking up at the canopy of alien foliage that obscured the sky, wondered if their signal had reached the vanguard. The thought of rescue, of seeing the stars again, filled him with a mix of longing and anxiety. But as he glanced around at his crewmates, their faces etched with the trials of their survival, he knew they had already overcome the unimaginable. The struggle for survival on PX-753 had tested them in ways they could never have anticipated. Yet, in the face of adversity, they had found strength in each other, a testament to the human spirit's resilience. And as the night deepened, with their beacon shining like a solitary star through the darkness, they waited for the dawn, for the chance to return home. The dense jungle of PX-753 had become a world of anticipation and dread for the survivors of the crash. Their makeshift beacon, powered by the shuttle's remaining core and amplified through ingeniously repurposed technology, pierced the night sky, a silent plea for rescue. Captain Helena Ford, her face marked by the trials of the past days, watched over her crew with a steadfast determination, her mind always calculating their next move. As the days passed, the tension within the camp mounted. Supplies were critically low, and the constant threat from the planet's inhabitants left everyone on edge. Yet, amid the uncertainty, there was a flicker of hope ignited by the beacon's steady glow. Then, without warning, their prayers were answered. A crackle over the makeshift radio setup heralded a burst of static, followed by the clear, unmistakable voice of the UEEN Vanguard. "This is the Vanguard, responding to your distress signal. We are initiating extraction protocols. Hold your position." The camp erupted into cheers, relief washing over the crew like a tidal wave. But their joy was short-lived. The activation of the beacon and the impending rescue had not gone unnoticed by the jungle's denizens. A cacophony of alien cries filled the air, signaling the approach of a massive wave of predators, drawn to the camp by the beacon's energy emissions. Captain Ford sprang into action, organizing the crew into defensive positions. "This is it," she declared, her voice cutting through the chaos. "We hold them off until extraction. Everyone, to your stations." Trevor took his place alongside his comrades, his rifle at the ready. The perimeter they had fortified over their stay now faced its ultimate test. The first wave of creatures surged out of the darkness, a nightmarish horde of chitin and fangs. The air was filled with the sound of gunfire, the smell of gunpowder and alien ichor mingling in the humid air. Despite their exhaustion and dwindling ammunition, the crew fought with a desperate ferocity, driven by the knowledge that salvation was within reach. The makeshift defenses held, but barely. Each attack left them weaker, their numbers further diminished. Then, as suddenly as the onslaught had begun, a brilliant light pierced the night sky. The Vanguard's extraction shuttle descended through the cloud cover, its powerful engines scattering the attackers and casting the jungle in daylight brightness. "Extraction team is here." "Fall back to the LZ," Ford shouted, her voice a beacon of hope amidst the bedlam. The crew retreated, covering each other as they made their way to the designated landing zone, marked by the flare of the shuttle's landing lights. The extraction was chaotic, the crew boarding the shuttle under the protective cover of its armaments. Trevor was among the last to board, casting a final glance at the jungle that had been their prison, their battleground. As the shuttle lifted off, the jungle seemed to recede into the darkness, a silent witness to their struggle. Aboard the UEN Vanguard, the survivors were met with medical aid and the comfort of their fellow humans. Captain Ford debriefed the command, her report a testament to the resilience and courage of her crew. Trevor, looking out at the stars from the Vanguard's observation deck, felt a profound sense of relief mixed with sorrow for those lost. The experience on PX-753 had changed him, taught him the true meaning of survival and sacrifice. He knew that the universe was full of wonders and horrors, but also that humanity's spirit of exploration and resilience would always prevail. As the Vanguard set its course away from PX-753, Trevor realized that this was not the end of their journey, but a continuation of humanity's quest to explore the unknown. They had faced the darkness and emerged into the light, a beacon of hope and determination in the vast expanse of space. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you did, please be sure to subscribe and leave a like. Feel free to check out either of the videos linked here as well.